Welcome to Backcheck Podcast.
Hey guys, welcome back. First episode of the rebrand Backcheck Podcast. My name is Cameron Reserve, and we have our new co-host here, Dawson Smith. And we're really excited to bring you great content. And we have a new channel, and it's gonna be excellent. So let's try to get to 10 subscribers by the new year, 2022.
Yes, sir. Our year.
And we have a lot of great content coming your way. For the biggest news is we're going to expand to the MLB, the NFL, and continue to talk about hockey, but also we might be willing to talk about other sports as well. So if you want to hear something, let us know in the comment section below. And like always, guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on post notifications to hear great content. Now, talking about content ideas, just to give everybody a heads up, we do have our second guest speaker coming on probably as soon as a couple of weeks from now. We'll make an Instagram post and a TikTok to let you know who that guy is. And we're really excited to have him on, just confirming a date. But in this episode, we're going to talk about the NFL, and we're going to talk about quarterbacks. And
yes,
we're going to make our dream quarterback per se with different categories. And these categories are going to be, you can pick one quarterback in the NFL that can current day that you'd put to make them make your best possible quarterback. So the categories are awareness, arm strength, accuracy, mobility, toughness, competitiveness, clutch, and leadership. So Dawson and I have a list here of quarterbacks. And first, we're going to start off with awareness. Who is the most aware quarterback in the NFL?
Yeah, thanks, Cam. For my pick, when I think of awareness, I think of a guy who constantly can see the blitz, can pick up defenders no matter where they are, can read if it's man or zone coverage, who can also understand, all right, I have option A, I have option B, and I have option C. And that quarterback, who can make those decisions, in my mind, is Tom Brady. Tom Brady has been a great NFL quarterback for 20 plus seasons now. And, he continues to do it, not because of his his speed or he still has a good arm talent, but more so about his awareness. Guys like Aaron Donald, Khalil Mack, even Villa, are big guys that really know how to get after the quarterback. And Tom Brady just does an excellent job of knowing when he has something there, throwing the ball, finding his receivers, and even when he doesn't, knowing when to throw the ball away. I think it's really crucial for a lot of these rookies coming into the NFL to learn from Tom Brady and how he has been great all these years.
Yeah, Tom's an excellent choice and somebody I definitely considered for awareness. But for me, I actually went with Aaron Rodgers of the Green Bay Packers. And, there's always this debate, Tom or Rodgers, but I think you look at a guy like Aaron Rodgers, and he's always what I like about him, he doesn't throw a lot of interceptions. He seems very aware of snap count. He seems aware when to snap the ball. He seems aware at all times on the field. In many situations, he's a guy who's he can give you. If you look at Rodgers, I like him because he doesn't throw a lot of picks, and he's very smart in the pocket. He's not going to force a pass, but at the same time, he's willing to if he needs to. But he's just
right.
He's a very just aware quarterback. He's never been one to turn the ball over much. So that's what I like about Aaron Rodgers. And I went with Tom Brady in a different category here. So for Rodgers, I chose him for awareness. Now moving on to arm strength. Who has the best arm in the NFL?
Yeah, so if we're talking about purely arm talent, the ability to throw the football, even in the tightest of spaces, or who can throw it an 80-yard bomb. A few names pop up in my mind. For this category, I think I have to go with Josh Allen. Yeah, coming out of his combine, throwing off his knees, 70-yard passes to, now in the NFL, we can see his elite arm talent. And I think that Josh Allen really has proven that he can throw the deep ball. And then at the NFL level, he is an elite quarterback who can also be accurate. Now, mind you, I also thought about putting some other people in this category, but to me, Josh Allen not only can, for this year, has been putting the ball right on the money, has been able to throw the ball as deep as he wants and be able to put it right on the receiver's hands. So for me, I had to go with Josh Allen.
Absolutely. And that's actually who I chose as well. And watching Josh play for a while, he's, like you said, I mean, I think the most impressive thing is he's a very big guy, but very mobile, but also his arm is like the first thing I noticed from Josh Allen throwing the ball at the combine was his arm strength. It's just it's so natural. He has the ability to throw the football down the field, I think, better than many guys in the NFL, something that's rare. He has a rare combination of size, agility, and arm talent. That's what I think what makes Josh Allen incredibly special. But right now, I think he's probably, you could argue, top 3 guy who could hurl that ball downfield. I'd say Mahomes and Justin Herbert are in consideration for me as well. But end of the day, I chose Josh. It's just so natural for him.
Right. And I think that's a great point, Cam. Patrick Mahomes is also up there for me. He's got an incredible cannon. Unfortunately, this year he's been off and on. A lot of people say that he's been trying to make too many plays on the field. And, I can also see that he's trying to make, a play out of nothing, how he did, back when they lost the Super Bowl. And I think that, people like Patrick Mahomes will eventually get back in the groove. It's tough when you lose some of your assets at wide receiver to then try and be able to, not try to make the hero play, but make the smart play. And so I think Patrick Mahomes will also be, is a very close second runner up. And, I think that there's a lot of guys who have some incredible arm talent, but you're right. Josh Allen, I think, unanimously wins the arm talent category.
Absolutely. And if we have to move over to accuracy next, who's the most accurate quarterback in the NFL?
When we talk about accuracy, the first thing that comes to mind for me is I would put Aaron Rodgers. I had Tom Brady before, and he's a close second for this. But this year, Aaron Rodgers has just been incredible. I mean, there have been, he had a rough first game getting back. He was never there all off season or spring training, got back into the groove of things after the second game. And, him and Devontae Adams have really connected this year. You see, there's a true emotional connection with those two as well, being able to read one another after years of experience. And, Aaron Rodgers, no matter what, is going to put that ball right on the numbers, and he'd be the guy I'd want throwing that Hail Mary.
Absolutely. Love Aaron Rodgers. He's been extremely accurate throughout his career. I kind of went maybe off the rails a little bit on this one. People might disagree, so say what you think in the comments, but I actually went with Justin Herbert. I absolutely adore the guy. He reminds me of maybe a less mobile Josh Allen. He definitely has the arm strength. He's a pretty accurate quarterback. He knows where he likes to sling the football. He's willing. You can see, in plays, he's willing to throw it downfield to a guy like Williams and Keenan Allen. And I think it's his deep ball is impressive, but I think he's becoming very much more accurate as well. And I think you're going to see that improve over the next couple of years as Herbert has done throughout all of his game. He's becoming more aware. He's becoming more mobile. His arm strength is even getting better than it once was, which is it's always been probably one of his best assets. But I think he's becoming more accurate, and you could argue he could be the most accurate quarterback in the NFL. There's an argument for that. Not saying he is, maybe he isn't. I don't know, but that's just my opinion. Moving on to mobility. There's a couple of guys you could choose, but who are you going to pick for the most mobile quarterback?
Well, when I think of mobile quarterback, I think of, not only pure speed, but also just agility and a guy that also can put the ball in the back of the end zone. And, a lot of people are going to say, well, Lamar Jackson. And, although Lamar Jackson was good for a few games this year, the last few weeks, he just has not been that guy. And, the guy who I went with lost to Detroit yesterday quite badly, which is that's a yikes. But for my pick, I'm gonna have to go with Kyler Murray. The Arizona quarterback has always been not only an elite runner, but also he's so agile, as well as being able to get out of the pocket and be able to making plays. I think that Kyler Murray is, such a strong pick for someone who has who rushes every single year in the NFL for so many yards and who's incredibly young and will continue to improve, not only running the ball, but also being able to just throw the ball and be able to also get touchdowns when your team needs it.
Absolutely. Kyler was a very close second pick for me. I definitely had him in my consideration, but recency bias alone, I am going to go with Lamar Jackson. We've seen him on tape, and you're going to see that right here on some B-roll here. But Lamar, I think of a wizard. He's so elusive in the pocket. His footwork is incredible. His natural speed, it's up there. He's a fast guy, and I know the running back memes, whatever. Lamar. Yeah, maybe he's had some flaws this year with some games. He's battled some injuries, but overall, he's close to a modern day Michael Vick. He's got some wheels on. I think what puts him over the edge of Kyler. I just think he's a little bit more elusive than Kyler. But so that's why I have Lamar ahead of a guy like Kyler Murray, who you could definitely argue for an arguable second place. And besides Lamar and Kyler, I don't really see anybody else in the competition here. Maybe you could argue. I know Mahomes can move around quite a bit, but other than that, I don't see anybody in this competition for mobility. And so the next category is going to be toughness, which should be an interesting take. Who are you going to pick?
Ooh, for toughness. Well, when I think about toughness, I take a lot of guys into consideration. Not only a guy who can break off the sacks, but also who can, make the inevitable plays. A guy who can really move around in the pocket, who can take the hits, and who still competes. And for me, if he wasn't injured, I would go with Russell Wilson. I think Russell Wilson's a great pick here. But, this year, I'm going to have to go with Patrick Mahomes. Okay. Patrick Mahomes, although he does, he had a rough start to the season, was making some bad interceptions and, throwing the ball a little bit too much. He is a tough quarterback. A lot of guys have been trying to get after him, sack him. He makes these throws on the run, makes incredible plays to get out of the pocket, being able to throw the ball out of bounds when he needs to, and being able to hit his receivers when he can. I think a guy like Patrick Mahomes, he was drafted to be a franchise quarterback, and that's exactly what he has been. And after a couple of years, we've seen he's already won a Super Bowl with the Chiefs, and, he has made Kansas City a contender for the next decade. And I don't see things changing when you have a quarterback that can just make all those plays like Patrick Mahomes. So that's my pick.
I love that pick. Definitely. I think people underrate how tough Mahomes is, but I do have a couple other this guy I picked above Mahomes. And remember, this is just based on toughness alone. I'm actually going to go with Tyrod Taylor. Now, people will be like, oh, why Tyrod Taylor? I know, yeah, he has his flaws, but he's been around the league for a long time as a backup quarterback. To see him come in, he tries to earn the starting job versus Justin Herbert last year, breaks his rib, to come back and to start for a team like Houston. I think just that alone, he's played all around the NFL for a long time. I'm hearing about Tyrod Taylor and his stories. I know he's one of the toughest guys out there. I think just to come back from an injury like that and to bounce around the NFL, trying to battle for a job every single year, It's absolutely incredible. And I praise a guy like Taylor because I know he's not the most skilled quarterback. I know he's not the biggest out there, but man, I think he is the toughest for sure. So if my pick is hands down Tyrod Taylor, and absolutely adore the guy for what he's done in the NFL, just to come back every year and battle and compete. And you always see how tough he is, even when he takes hits. And so the next category is going to be competitiveness, and this will be Dawson. You're up on the clock. Who do you think the most competitive quarterback is?
Well, that's a great question. When we talk about competitiveness, there's a guy in my mind. Either if I hadn't already used him, I think it'd be Tom Brady, or and but because I've already used Tom Brady, I think another guy who really competes every single year, who not only gets fired up, but who will go to no matter what. I think I'm going to have to go with, Trevor Lawrence. I think this is kind of an underdog pick. A lot of people are like, oh, well, Trevor Lawrence isn't that competitive. What are you talking about? He's on a tough Jacksonville Jaguars team. He's already had, Urban Meyer was just fired from the Jaguars. And I think that, fighting through and every single year, Trevor Lawrence has come in trying to compete against the elite, NFL quarterbacks or the college quarterbacks, and he's won every single time. In high school, he played for Cartersville, Georgia, and he absolutely dominated. He only had 4 losses in his entire career, in both high school and college coming into the NFL. And I think, although he's losing with this Jaguars team, he is fired up. He comes into practice every day trying to make his teammates better, and he tries and tries and tries to do the best thing. And Trevor Lawrence really it was the number 1 pick for a reason, and has been scouted to be the number 1 pick for years. And I think this guy is going to be competitive for the next 5 to 10 years. And hopefully, cross your fingers for no injuries. I think this guy could really be something for the Jaguars, and hopefully, rejuvenate their franchise as a whole.
Absolutely. People, it's too early to give up on a guy like Lawrence after terrible coaching, and he's in a difficult situation. We look at a guy like Peyton Manning's rookie season, that obviously wasn't amazing. And now Manning's one of the best quarterbacks of all time in the NFL. So trust me, Lawrence has the talent. And besides the talent, he has the willpower to be the best. It's only his rookie season. So I definitely think that's a great pick. And I love his competitiveness on and off the football field. He's a very competitive guy. But for me, I'm actually going to go with Taylor Heineke. I love Taylor Heineke. I love the way this guy plays. He's tough. He's a guy he seems like a guy who's very willing, and a guy who never quits. I saw that watching that series last year of him and Brady battle it out. It was not an easy win for the Bucks. Might have been one of the hardest wins for during that Super Bowl run there. I think look at a guy like Heineke. I mean, he's been bounced around, comes in. Alex Smith trying to come back, wins the job. Bring in Ryan Fitzpatrick, wins the job. The guy is fiery. He's tough, and I just think he's a very competitive dude. And that's what I love about Taylor Heineke. I think anybody can see that in the guy and say, "Oh wow, I respect this dude." And I love how competitive he is. And I'm sure Ron Rivera and the Washington football team love that as well. So definitely big fan of Heineke and how competitive he is. So now we have 2 more categories to go. So this one is clutch. Who is the most clutch quarterback in the NFL besides you can't name Tom Brady because you already.
That's right. Yeah, right. You think of a guy like Tom Brady and you're like, oh, he's the most clutch quarterback. And, there's no doubt in your mind. And, honestly, Tom Brady, he is, he's a very clutch quarterback. And, same thing with a guy like Aaron Rodgers, after halftime, I think he's only had 2 losses ever when his team's up in his career. And, guys like that. But I think someone who's very underrated, who I would trust with the football, going into the last quarter, I think is Matthew Stafford. I think he's really chosen his path here on the LA Rams. Got traded this past offseason from the Detroit Lions. And, this is also a guy you can put up with toughness or competitiveness, right? He was on a Detroit Lions franchise, which has always been, disemboweled and, something that is incredibly tough to do. And every single year he came out and posted Pro Bowl numbers and came out and led that franchise to at least, somewhat competitive with the very little weapons that he had around him. So I think that, getting out of Detroit and onto the LA Rams, you can see this year that they're, dominating the NFL, and hopefully they'll make a deep playoff run. But Matthew Stafford is the type of guy to be able to make those passes, be able to connect with his receivers, and also really be a strong, field general as well. And, that's the type of guy who I'd want to lead my team. And so Matthew Stafford is my pick.
Absolutely. Love Stafford. He's always been a tough, competitive dude. And I do think he is clutch. I know he hasn't had the opportunity to show it yet. I think this playoffs will be big for the Rams because on paper they should be the best team. And I think looking at a guy like Stafford, I know he's not going to take that opportunity for granted. For me, though, I'm going with Tom Brady. I saved him for this spot. Being a Patriots fan and watching Brady over the years, the most impressive thing about him is, he's a great quarterback. He's aware. He has great arm strength. He's accurate. He's not mobile. He's tough. He's competitive, but he's clutch. Down at a game, you never can count Tom Brady out of a football game. And we've seen comebacks. We've seen, again, the one versus the Falcons is just one example of Tom. I mean, he's had many fourth quarter comebacks. He is guy. I think there's no other quarterback in the NFL that I rather have the football in my hands if I was a coach than Tom Brady in the fourth quarter. And that just symbolizes to me how clutch of a player he is. And he's there's athletes that are good. They come in practice, they do everything right. And you have athletes who, when it comes down to the big moment, they just shine. And that's Tom Brady. And we've seen leading against 2001 against the Rams, coming down and setting up a clutch field goal for Vinatieri to win the Super. I mean, we see this all the time. I mean, and Brady is just a fine example of clutchness. And we can talk about that for hours upon hours, how clutch Tom Brady is. I can find probably 25 clips for you, but the guy is just insanely clutch. And for the last category, it's leadership. So it's the last one. Who's your pick and why?
Leadership. To me, a guy who has leadership is someone who not only leads his team down the field, but also leads his team in practice, and who, really competes every single day. And, this can kind of go along with competitiveness. But, for me, I got to think that a guy like I'm thinking more so about, leadership position. I got to go with Jimmy Garoppolo, the San Francisco 49ers. I think when I think of a guy like Jimmy, he's always been a great teammate, but he's even better, outside of that as an NFL quarterback. He's able to lead his team. He's able to lead the Niners and being able to help them compete. Even when he's injured, this guy is still calling plays, going every day, checking in on guys, and still being able to, when he does get back, lead his team into great moments and being able to, help his team out. So for my pick, I had to go with Jimmy Garoppolo of the San Francisco 49ers.
I like it. I've always liked Garoppolo's game. He seems like a real field general out there. But for me, I think this is the best option. And debate me in the comments. I don't care. It's Russell Wilson. Hands down is the best leader in football. The guy is I'm just hearing about him, how his teammates respect him. He's been with Seattle a long time. He's a guy I think he's tough. He competes. He's a guy, I think many teammates would run for a wall for this guy. I like how he leads by example. I like how he is in the pocket, how he communicates to his teammates. I like everything about Russell Wilson. He seems like the ultimate person and fantastic. He's a great quarterback. And I think what even makes him a better quarterback is his leadership. So my pick is Russell Wilson for the best quarterback that shows the most leadership. But again, it's hard to say. We don't know these guys personally, but this is just from what we've seen and what we've heard. But I think Russell Wilson is a fabulous leader. So guys, thank you for tuning into this episode. And in the comment section, let me know who you would pick for the most aware quarterback, the quarterback with the best arm strength, the most accurate quarterback, the most mobile quarterback, the toughest quarterback, the most competitive quarterback, the most clutch quarterback, and the quarterback who shows the most leadership. Again, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn post notifications on so you can know when we post great content, because we have some great content coming out to you hopefully by the new year. We're going to have many guest appearances lined up for you, many athletes who've been on the professional level or are in the professional level coming on. So this is very exciting times. So thanks for tuning in to Backcheck Podcast. My name's Cameron Meserve alongside Dawson Smith, and we're going to have a fabulous rest of your day.